are here with a legend.
You have to have a reason, a meaning behind what you do, and you have a power to give meaning to anything you see. And the more the meaning is, the more the desire is that you must be what you can be, because as long as your purpose is greater than your pain, the pain won't matter. I don't try to control anything. I let God throw all the he wants at me, but I know that he's given me a power to control my behavior.
They've spent so long to get 90% of the way there, and then they stop and they quit.
At the most uncomfortable part, and the glory is on the other side of that uncomfortable
That's why
part.
I'm so repetitive and annoying and honest about faith. I started talking more about it because it became more important, because without faith, everybody would quit.
That is the one and only David Meltzer. Well, we are back at it again. This is the Breaking Barriers podcast. My name is John Morris. This is powered by S.O.A.R. That is Brian P. Swift, the QuadFather, baby. We have the brilliant David Meltzer. Thank you so much for coming on.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate the adjective brilliant. I have come to a conclusion, because in all humility, brilliance to me is that when you express God. So brilliance is the expression of God. So Einstein, Buddha, Gandhi, all the people I think of as geniuses, all they're doing is expressing God.
And our society has not made that easy.
No.
And stepping out of that closet that we were all put in for years is so freeing.
It is. And here, breaking barriers, one of them is you can't overachieve your own self-image. And so the barrier that...
Hold on. Explain that.
Yeah. So the meaning of our past is so critical, because we have a power to give meaning to everything you see. And I think why I can communicate that example so well is that a lot of people are blown away by the fact that I lost over $100 million, including my mom's house. And so the fact that I can give a meaning to that will accelerate, aggregate, compound my success, my fulfillment, my passion, my purpose, is sometimes unfathomable to people. And so to understand that I look at the failures, mistakes, setbacks, defining moments, historical relevances of my past, and the first step is, where do I want to be in the future? Now I align those mistakes with where I want to be, not stop me from going. You see, because that's what limits your self-image. The meaning of your past, the meaning of that mistake is going to limit your self-image, and you will never overachieve, to repeat. You will never overachieve your own self-image.
So beautiful. So we've talked, Brian, about the fact that your accident at 17 years old, God, whether it was divine intervention or whatever, God gave you that situation because now you have a chance to teach so many people how to react to it, how to break barriers. David, you just talked about losing $100 million, including your mom's house. You just were up on stage and gave one of the most inspirational speeches I've ever heard. It was beautiful. There were tears, and including you. You got emotional, which is absolutely beautiful that you were that authentic and vulnerable. So do you think that God perhaps led you to that crisis, that adversity, so that you could bounce back in the way that you have, so you could teach millions of people how to deal?
That's such an interesting perspective when we start looking at God as somebody who has a plan for you. See, I like to think of it as something different. I think God has everything for me, and whatever it is I want, but he has lessons to teach me no matter what I want. So instead of saying, well, this was God's plan for him to bankrupt me and for me to use drugs and alcohol and almost ruin no, he didn't want any of that for me. But those were the behaviors I had, thinking that's going to get me to where I wanted to be. And what he had for me was the lessons, and hopefully I would see the light of the faith that he was there, like my mom, to protect, promote, love, and perfect me. And it is a hard construct for people to understand. I think the plan is everything for you, and you're supposed to learn from it with wisdom, which to me is to find people like Brian to say, hey man, get me to where I want to be. You're sitting where I want to be or better. Let me get there. And then two, the faith that, shit, Dave and Brian are complete fuck ups, and they have beautiful families, beautiful lives, money, happiness, all those things. I want them to teach me how to get from A, where I am today, to B, where they are, or better.
And when we get caught up in those human constructs, our life goes south.
Yeah.
It goes so south. When we get caught up in those chasing shiny object syndrome and the human constructs that we've been brainwashed to believe we need, we so get away from that divine direction that God really wants for all of us.
Yeah, there's more shiny lights than ever. I used to say this, the period of my life, I used to buy things I didn't need to impress people I didn't like.
I mean,
That is an awful place to be.
how true is that?
It's so sad.
It's so sad.
But I learned so much from it. And today, every penny that I make, every penny that I ask for, and I ask for a lot. I'm not shameful. I'm not nervous about it. I ask to empower over 1 billion people. Do you know how much money that's going to take to
you need
empower?
a lot of money to
a
do
lot
that.
of money. I'm not ashamed of it, but I know that there's more than enough of it for everyone, and it's not limiting me.
But you're asking in a different way.
For the sake of helping others
You're
and
not-
having fun, not to make
'Cause I
happy.
want.
No, come and be happy. I'll be happy when is the worst thing that you see.
Yeah.
You'll never find happiness.
For the sake of.
You have to have a reason, a meaning behind what you do, and you have a power to give meaning to anything you see. And the more the meaning is, the more the desire is that you must be what you can be, because as long as your purpose is greater than your pain, the pain won't matter. Ask Brian.
Yeah.
His purpose has always been greater than a pain that most people couldn't handle.
So let's talk to the people that are stuck.
Everybody.
They're everybody, right? They need
Yeah.
They need some of that holy Drano,
Yeah.
right? They're stuck. So you've had moments in your life, I'm sure, where you were stuck. You didn't just come out of the womb this way. You had great
Still get
leadership
stuck.
from your mom, and you've had some unbelievable moments that have defined you, and you've built from that. But there's a lot of folks that are maybe in that stuck moment. Talk to them a little bit about maybe some steps they could take to get unstuck.
Well, that word step says it all to me. And I really try to simplify things through the dummy tax that I paid. And so what I talk about is, first, figure out your non-negotiable behavior. See, hedge the uncertainty that God gives us in his 24-hour guarantee. What's God's 24-hour guarantee? I guarantee you 24 hours a day, as long as your heart's beating, every single day of your life, except for the last day, I'm going to cheat you. So I already know incrementally, when we're talking about steps, that I should deal with things as 24 hours goes. I also know that all 24 hours are uncertain. But how can I hedge with certainty when I know all 24 hours every day of my life is uncertain? It's by doing certain behaviors. See, the circumstances, the uncertainty have nothing to do with the fact that every day I have a minimum amount of time on my sleep, on my health, on my family, on my finance, on my faith, on the study of time, and as we mentioned earlier, the study of meaning, the study of relativity. That equals about 12 hours. So I've hedged half of the uncertainty out of my life by having certain behavior regardless of the uncertainty, regardless of the circumstance. Now, I'm also human, so I know this, that some days I'm going to mess up. So then I double down by saying, if by chance I get a call at 2 a.m. and I don't get the minimum of 7 hours of sleep because I have to go take care of something important in the circumstantial day that's already started, unfortunately, tomorrow, no matter what, I'm getting my 7 hours in. No matter, I'm not doubling down on the L's. One time's an exception. God has forgiveness for exceptions, but he does not want to create a new behavior. And I have non-negotiable, non-circumstantial behavior that gives me 90% of outcomes that are exponential in my life. The other 10% comes from the joy of learning from the circumstances. And that way, I don't try to control anything. I let God throw all the shit he wants at me, but I know that he's given me a power to control my behavior.
So good. Okay, so we know that you've broken massive barriers. You also have had a ton of victories. You've had a lot of wins in life. Give us a few of your favorite wins. And I would imagine you're going to lead with humility and some purpose here, so give it to us.
Yeah. Look, one of my greatest wins is saving my life with behaviors. So, understanding that I started to categorize, is this behavior, drinking, going to strip clubs, drugs, is this aligned with my divine direction or interfering with it? So that's, to me, the victory. The second victory, which is aligned with that, is that I brought faith into my life. I'm not in control. I'm in control of my behaviors, but I'm not in control of the outcomes. I know and have faith that although most of my life there's no evidence or the evidence is contrary that I'm going to be where I want to be, I have faith that I'm going to be there or better, and that God's going to protect, promote me, love, and perfect me to get there, as long as I'm paying attention to the behaviors and giving them my intention, doing everything I can, right? Everything I can. I must be what I can be. Saying everything I can, thinking, believing, and feeling it. And when I'm not, I'm putting myself back to God. What do I mean? So when I have uncertainty that evokes fear, and I have a reaction to that fear, like the need to be right, the need to be offended, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, resentful, or worried, all those things that interfere with my success, I go to God. How do I go to God? Not by trying to resist it, not go over it, under it, through it, around it, lie to it, manipulate it, cheat it, or deny it like I used to do. I simply, and remember, the simple things to do are not simple, or simple not to do. I stop, I breathe, I remind myself, I remember myself, I recollect myself with God, and then I roll into the divine direction that God is giving me by protecting, promoting me of that struggle, mistake, or setback. And this methodology is truly, now, let me tell you one other success that I've never said, because I'd like to do some special content for Brian especially.
Let's go.
This success is not as grand, but it came to mind, I have to say, as a human experience of success. My first game ever playing college football, and I'm a below average college football player. I played behind an All-American who almost made the Raiders, and he was amazing. He got hurt our very first game. Coach
Next
puts
man
me in,
up.
Next man up. I'm a punt returner and a kick returner. That's it. That's why they wanted me. But they put me out there at corner, and he said, whatever you do, do not pick this pass off. Just knock the ball down. It's 3rd down and 12.
Yeah.
They're going to throw your way, and you're going to knock the ball down. You are good enough. I know. Do not try to pick this pass. So they of course ran an out. I read it perfectly. I knew it was coming to me.
Jumped the route.
College is this much faster than high school, right? Everything's this much faster meant that pick six that I was about to have went off this fingertip instead of into these fingers for the pick. So I got toasted. I came to the sideline. Coach Echeverry, who we are very close friends now, grabbed my face mask, literally screaming at me. I'm crying, and tells the head coach, because they're yelling my name, return the kick. They're kicking off to us, and we're down. And he's like, he can't go in. You're not. And the head coach is like, he's my guy. He's going in. So I'm back there, 18 years old, playing with a bunch of 23 and 24-year-olds, and I'm sulking, like you're in Pop Warner, and they kick it off to me, and I went the house.
Let's go.
Oh, my God.
Let's go.
Now, here's the awesome part. I do a flip in the end zone.
You hurt
right?
yourself?
No, worse. I did a flip with the ball. I ran to the sidelines, and I flipped the ball to the defensive coordinator, and I looked at him, and I go, money, money.
Oh.
That man taught me humility.
Oh, I'm
The
certain.
success of that was not the play. Mm-hmm. The success of that is that he made my life miserable for almost all 4 years of my college career. And it taught me to be successful because I love football so much, but he taught me to learn to love what I didn't like or love about football. And he taught me that sometimes there's a lesson that's far greater than football. And he was going to teach me. And when we became friends later in life, I said, why were you such a dick to me? Mm-hmm. And he said, because I knew there was that kid that flipped the ball to me and said, money, money. And I wanted him to come out. And you went down like a wallflower, and you weren't willing to fight me until your senior year when I made you captain and came at you really hard. And you flipped off your helmet and told me to F off. I'm never playing here again. And that's when I knew you learned the lesson, and you're good and you're better for it.
That's awesome. I mean, and the lessons we learn in life aren't through the wins and the victories, the victory of picking it off. And in your mind as a young kid, money, money, like that meant the world. but as we mature and learn and grow, you realize that these other things that send us in that divine direction, 3 years of hell with a coach that knew that there was more to this young man. Now, I would have went to the defensive coach and said, "You told me not to pick it off." I didn't pick it off. You said not to pick it off.
If you watched the film, you knew what I was trying to do.
I know. Oh, no, I know. So
That would not have gone over well.
in terms of breaking barriers, I mean, your speech earlier, and for the people that aren't here, I will try to get a copy of it because you need to hear it. Some of the barriers that you're teaching people are things that we don't see as barriers, like asking for help. People have that's a barrier in people.
Brian,
think about it.
That's hard.
It was for me.
We're told to man up. We're
hard.
told to go figure it out.
I had to man up when I couldn't dress myself. I couldn't feed myself.
Yeah.
That I questioned my masculinity, rolling into a room with men, athletes, people, and I'm sitting in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I had to learn that. So yes, it is, but that is breaking barriers, just something as simple as asking.
Yeah, I even take it to a substep, a premature step of asking for help is just being comfortable receiving. Because you can't ask for help if you're not comfortable receiving, and to shift the paradigm or perspective of receiving to knowing that when I receive, I'm giving someone the highest gift, the capability that you're able and capable of helping me, which puts you closest to God, that makes you feel the best.
So maybe Brian got this from you, or you both
I
just
hope so,
think in
because that's my
alignment.
mission.
Because
That's my mission.
I learned that from Brian, and it clicked for me. I was like,
Clicked
my
for me
goodness,
when I
I'm
learned
giving,
it.
I'm taking the joy away from somebody if I don't allow them to help me.
I have been part of his group, and he
Thank
is
you.
a big mentor in my life. And I don't know how many other people ask for his guides and whatnot, but I am
Every week.
consistent.
Every week. I have to change my template so he slows me down because I don't want it to say, please join my group. So he knows it's actually me.
Yeah.
So it's actually me. I see him every week. I do have a template that I slip over to answer people who request the guides, the exercises, my books, which everyone in your community, if they email me, david@dmeltzer.com, I will sign my books, send them to you, pay for shipping, pay for the books, pay for the exercises and guides. I have free Friday, free Wednesday, free lives,
You just
free
got a
meetups,
gift.
free holding courts. And if you want to join our group or you want to be on a wait list for one-on-one coaching, email me, david@dmeltzer.com.
You just got a gift.
And I'm telling you, I have exponentially grown, and I am sharing that wisdom.
Yes.
As I have done with John, as I have done with my wife, because I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel, but I'm learning, as you have said, get somebody in your life that's there.
Mm-hmm.
Why mess around with somebody who's not there yet? And this man has impacted me,
Yeah.
which means I've impacted my family, I've impacted you, and that is your equation to making over 100,
Over a billion people.
over 1 billion people
It's so-
happy.
it's so
if I
funny.
can make 1,000 people and John makes 1,000, like you said, the equation's easier than it sounds.
Way easier than it sounds. And so is everything else when you think about the math of it, that things happen very slowly and all of a sudden because of the math, right? So one day you've empowered one person like Brian, and he empowered one person like John, and here you are 10 years later, and there's 10 people empowered, but it doubled, and then the next year it's 20.
It's compounding
all of a sudden,
interest.
20 years in there, all of a sudden you're at more than 1,000 people times 1,000 people. So over 18 years, everyone's like, Dave Meltzer's an idiot. He's not empowering very many people. And then the 19th year, people are like, whoa, there's a lot of people here.
What
And
happened?
and I'm in the 19th year, which I think is funny because I've always, maybe I manifested it, maybe the math just held true, but it wasn't until my 18th year into this journey that people started to recognize, you saw my brand grow exponentially, and now we're in the 19th year. Look at the difference between a year ago,
Wow.
and now it's, truly there where nobody comes up to me and is like, oh, everyone comes up to me and says, wow, you're everywhere, keep it up.
Yeah, they didn't
Even
see
2 years ago, like, dude,
Yeah.
I know what's going on.
You've been grinding.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
but
didn't
things
see that
happen
part.
very slowly. Then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, you just got to concentrate on your
And
behaviors.
one of the points in just theories I learned, people quit when they're 90% there.
Oh, they're almost there.
So they've spent so long to get 90% of the way there, and then they stop and they quit. And
At the
it's
most
so
uncomfortable
true.
part, and the glory is on the other side of that
That's
uncomfortable
why
part.
I'm so repetitive and annoying and honest about faith.
Yeah.
Like I started talking more about it because it became more important, because without faith, everybody would quit. And so from the very start, whether it's a young person who's in year 1 with Dave Meltzer, or, you know, a more experienced person that's been working with me for years, I'm talking about faith. No evidence. Evidence is contrary. No evidence, because I know it's going to happen. And they're just going to remind themselves, oh no, I know what I need here. It's not wisdom. It's simply just faith that I don't get this and I don't understand it, but it's going to get me there if I look for these things and do these things, say, believe, and feel them.
And that's what's gotten me where I'm at. If it wasn't for my mother that said, don't worry about the how, the why, this happened to you at 17, just trust what I've taught you, have faith to keep moving forward, I never would be where I'm at, because there's too many people trying to figure it out. I don't have time to figure it out. I know he loves me. I know he protects me. I know he guides me. And if I know that, I know as long as I'm moving forward,
You're invincible at that
He will
point.
judge me. He will push me in a divine
I
direction.
coach so many people in so many aspects of their life. And beyond you not being able to walk, because I don't think very many people want that. I haven't had many people coach me going, hey, I really want to be in a wheelchair the rest of my life. I can coach you how to do it. But I haven't had one of them. But what's great about Brian is, despite the fact that 17 he was gifted with this struggle, that they do ask me, hey, I want to have this amazing marriage. I want to be an amazing father. I want to be a leader. I want to be a podcaster. I want to be an author. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be all these things. Can you help me, Mr. Meltzer? And so if you look at the sheet, right? I'm a quantifiable guy. You know that, because, you know, things are quantifiable in the man-made constructs. You know, 99% of Brian's life, everybody wants.
Yeah.
And most of the people that, you know, can't walk never get that 90%, let alone people who can.
So I'm
Talking
very
about breaking barriers.
Breaking barriers for sure. I'm very curious, because this is the first time I've had the pleasure of meeting you, and of course,
you.
it's always great before you interview somebody to hear them speak.
Yeah.
So I kind of got a little bit of a advantage here. But one thing that stands out is you're a guy's guy. You're a manly man, ex-football player. You're a dude's dude. I heard you talking to people down there. You also connect very well with women. But one thing that really stands out to me is you're an emotional person. Why are you so willing to get so emotional? Like,
That's a lot of vulnerability. And most men, we were brought up, I mean, you know, even, and I know you didn't have your dad around long, but we were brought up in that generation of, you know, that you don't show that vulnerability.
and
but
I
there's a
don't
strength in it.
see it amongst highly successful executives. So it is endearing. It hits me in the heart. I want to be like that. I'm really curious. Like, why are you so willing to go there?
When I went through my own quantum shift, my own transformation, I believe women go through a quantum shift from 28 to 34, men usually 38 to 44, which probably isn't surprising because we're slower. But more importantly, I was taught this one line when I was taught about meditation. I was flying to India next to this doctor, and she looked at me and she said, I was running Leigh Steinberg, the most notable sports agency in the world. I was egoed out of my mind because not only was I worth over 100 million, but I had access to what billionaires couldn't afford.
Oh my
to do.
gosh.
Sidelines, backstages, etc. Biggest names of everything. This lady looked at me and said, are you okay? And I looked at her and said, yeah. And in my head, I'm like, do you know who I am? Mm-hmm. And then she said, I said, well, why? She said, because you're so full of light, but you're blocking it. And she said, do you meditate? And I went on a minute diatribe about why would I meditate? I have a Ferrari, a gorgeous wife, 3 daughters, a plane. I have everything I ever desired. Why would I meditate? People who meditate are sick, broke, and high, and they're living on their mom's couch, dreaming about what I have. Why would I meditate? And she said, oh, that's too bad, because through meditation, I could teach you to vibrate faster and higher. And I rolled my eyes. I'm like, what? She goes, well, the earth vibrates the slowest, and then plants, animals, humans.
Frequency.
Then sound, and then light. And then she asked me a question that changed my life and answers your question about vulnerability. She said, do you know what vibrates the fastest? You can only be aware of that which vibrates equal to or less than you, which is why sleep's important and a variety of other things that I do. But of course, I shrugged my shoulders, rolled my eyes like usual, and I said, no. What vibrates the fastest? The truth. The truth vibrates the fastest.
Wow.
So when I learned to speak.
Is that because God is the truth?
Yeah. And when I learned to speak the second time around, not for Samsung or Leigh Stein, but when I spoke to empower over 1 billion people, and I wanted it to resonate. I wanted to elevate everybody. I said to myself, you will only tell the truth on that stage. No overselling, back-end selling, lying, manipulating, cheating, selling off a stage.
Persuasion, influence, none of that.
No, you'll never see me sell off stage. I give invitations, not obligations on stage. Come meet me, do a meetup. Come to my VIP dinner. You won't see me come to the back of the room, 25 grand to work with Dave Meltzer. Find me one video that ever says that, and I'll tell you I was not being truthful.
And I'll tell you, everything he promised, the guides, the books of it, he delivers. I've never met anybody that gives out his own phone number. He gives us out
his email out
his
on
own
him.
phone, but he gives his own phone number,
Cell phone out there.
direct cell phone.
It's badass.
I've never heard of that.
Because I take accountability that I'm available to everybody, but I do put boundaries around my time. So I'll give up to 5 minutes to anyone. And if you're going to call me, you're going to be prepared, because your phone call won't last 5 minutes if I say, how can I be of service? And you
don't
say,
have an answer. Better
okay,
be
call
ready.
me when you do.
Yeah.
Call me when you do. That's why I gave you 5 minutes.
David, I want to be respectful of your time, so I want to wrap this up with another question, because there are hundreds of people that want to get some time with you,
Thank
okay?
you.
So could you sum up in a few words the message, the ultimate message that you would like to get across to an audience of people that want to break barriers?
Ask for help. I know it's very simple, just 3 words. Ask for help. If you can find someone, subject matter, topic, or expertise that sits in the situation you want to be in, ask them for help, because someday you'll be in a position to help somebody get to where they want to be or better. The fastest and easiest way to get to where you want to be, to break through, is to ask for help and help others get to where they want to be. That simple.
Absolutely beautiful. That is the one and only David Meltzer, and I don't have to ask him how they find him, because he gave you the email, and if you don't send him an email, that's on you. I can't help you if you aren't willing to take the help and it was just given to you. That is David Meltzer. That is the one and only Brian P. Swift. He is the QuadFather. I'm John Morris. This is Breaking Barriers. Like, follow, subscribe. We out.